All right. Greetings, everybody. 1 second here to get situated. All right. So, am I coming through, everyone? Can you all hear me okay? See me okay? Are we live? Looks like it. If anyone is new here to a stream, I don't do these that often. I'm probably going to be looking over here a little bit, looking down here, looking all over the place. That's because I've got this weird setup. Got a computer over there, but I'm like over on the couch. So if I'm like looking all shifty, I'm not up to no good. I'm just kind of like checking different screens. But welcome everybody. Looks like we are going on just fine. And yeah, it's been like couple of months since my last stream. I didn't do one last month. I think I did one the month before. Try to do it like once a month, but yeah, things have been happening. A lot of stuff has been happening around here. So going forward, a lot of things to talk about. So I think we're gonna have fun today. I'm gonna catch everyone up on what's happening to me now, what's going on in the future on the channel. We got some traveling coming up, so that'll be great. Really interesting things with videos coming up. We've got a few really cool ones coming up. So let's get to it. Oh, and as I go along, I will take moments to answer any questions that anyone has. So feel free to ask a question when I take those breaks. This thing, like the chat stream, if you've joined a live stream, you know these things just like fly on by. So I'll do my best to answer questions. If anyone does a super chat, I'll definitely answer those at some point. But you don't need to do a super chat if you want to ask a question. Doesn't cost you anything. Don't worry. But I definitely will answer any super chats. Just want to be polite, of course. And also along the way, we're gonna have some. I'm gonna have some snacks. Got a few things here. I've got some potato chips that were sent to me from the Pacific Northwest over from Wanderlust Nursery. I got some peely nuts, which are a really, really tasty nut. I got these from a Filipino grocery store. And I've got some Melon cookies that were sent to me a while back. So along the way, we'll have some snacks. We'll have a good time. And yeah, let's get to it. So first order of business. So things are, one of the big things that's going on right now is that my life is slowly getting a little bit more back to normal. For those that don't know, besides doing YouTube, I am a entertainer. That is my living, is I do shows. And now that the world is getting a little bit safer, especially here in New York, live events can happen again in a safe way. So I've started working again. I've got my vaccine, so I could travel again. So there's a few more doors have opened up just in the past like month or so, and that's gonna maybe reflect a little bit in the channel, just because you may have noticed that I've been going a little crazy with my videos, making them longer. They were like weirder, and that's all stuff that I want to keep doing as much as I can. But part of the reason was I had a lot of free time, guys. I wasn't working as someone who performs on stage, and being in a situation where I can't be doing my job. I can't be doing my job with it's just by definition groups of people gathering together. So that was kind of put on hold for a while. Now that I'm working again, that might have some sort of change in how the videos come out. But I've made a lot of changes in this past year because of having more free time, and I want to try to keep going the way things have been going. So that means videos that are a little bit longer, put a little bit more effort into them. Instead of just like having a fruit and tasting it and being like, wow, this tastes like X, Y, and Z. Goodbye, everybody. I have gotten into the habit of like doing stuff with it, like finding fun ways to use fruit and put in like little and more entertaining bits in it than I would have, like a year ago. So I'm going to try to keep doing that to the best of my ability, but maybe there's going to be like a little bit of trimming things down a little bit, or maybe less frequent videos in order to do that. We'll see what happens. So things have just kind of started opening up, so we're going to see how that reflects in the videos going forward. But as of right now, things are going along as usual. I did stop posting every Friday. I used to do every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and I cut out the Friday videos like every other Friday, basically, so I could put a little bit more work into them. And that's been working out pretty well. I think I can keep going with that pace. If you've been watching the channel recently, I've been doing a lot of videos on citruses. I was sent like a big box of citruses by the Monterey Bay chapter of the California Rare Fruit Growers Organization. I am still making my way through that box as far as the videos are concerned, but I am nearing the end. I'm nearing the end. I've been doing those videos for like a while now, for like 3 months now. I've been going through those videos, and I've got a few more, just a few, maybe like 4 more coming forward. And one of those is actually going to be a pretty big one. So I made a very special video on the bergamot. So bergamot, I'm sure a lot of you know, but for anyone that doesn't, it's the key ingredient in Earl Grey tea. Bergamot rind is used to season Earl Grey tea. It's where it gets that flavor. And yeah, for some reason, everybody online thinks that bergamot is something else. And I just, more in the past couple of years than ever, it's just been like this strange amount of misinformation that's out there about bergamot. So I'm going to be going on like a weird deep dive into why there's this mysterious like misinformation out there about bergamot. And it's going to be good. It's not your typical review. It's more of like a deep dive, but I put a lot of work into it. And it's kind of like going more into the direction of like my documentary type videos, like the Coco de Mer video or the Baobab, where I kind of like dig deep into like the rabbit hole of a fruit. And bergamot's a weird one. So that's going to be not this week, but I think next week. And it's going to be a 2-parter. Okay, so one of the episodes will be like the deep dive into the information, solving the mystery of like why so much misinformation is out there about it. And then the second one is I'm going to make Earl Grey tea using fresh bergamot, which is something I did a few years ago, maybe like, I think it was like 2018 I did that, so like 3 years ago now. And it worked. I tried using the dried rind of a bergamot to flavor Earl Grey tea, and it worked, but it was kind of weak. I wasn't really happy with it. So I found a way to improve it that's easy, that doesn't involve having any special equipment or anything. Anyone can do it. So I'll be doing that as the part 2 of the bergamot episode. So that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a fun one, and I think that's coming up next week. So not next episode or the one after that, but the next one after that, I think. So when that pops up, definitely check that one out. And that's going to be nearing the end of the citrus. I might have a couple other things planned with the citruses, but then it's moving on to new things. And I will tell you about those new things in a moment. First, I want to answer a couple of questions. We got a live stream here. So if you got any questions, guys, answer. I'll take a moment to answer a couple. Let's see. Big Orange has a question there. He said, out of all, what is the best fruit that I've ever had? Also, can you make tea out of gooseberries? Well, I mean, it's difficult to say what the best fruit is that I've had. I have a top 10 video that I did not that long ago, where the best fruit that I had, my number 1 fruit was the lucac, which is a relative of the durian. It's a very rare variety of durian that is available in Borneo. It's amazing. It tastes like durian, but without the things that people don't like about durian. It doesn't have a savory taste or like an oniony taste. It's more like a very like strong fruity flavor to it, which I've talked about in the past. But yeah, long story short, Lukac, really, really good. I don't know if it's my number one still, but it is definitely way up there. And if you didn't see the best fruit in the world episode that I did, check that out. We also have commenter 78 gave a donation. Thank you so much. And Bean Robeson says, I thought Garcinias were my favorite. I really like Garcinias. I would say if Lukac isn't my favorite, Garcinias are. But it's hard. It's hard to say. I've eaten so many fruit now, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different fruit species. I say Garcinias as a genus are my favorite. It's my favorite genus. I will never get sick of Garcinias. So we have. Thank you, Ben. Ben has a question. He said, "I'd love to see you do the Cara Cara Orange." I've done the Cara Cara Orange. That one is in my my orange episode. I did I don't know, probably 6 or 7 different varieties of oranges, including the blood orange and navel oranges and a few different types. And I tried the Cara Cara Orange there. And you are right, it is really, really good. Cara Cara oranges are kind of like blood oranges, but like instead of being like dark red inside, they're like pink. And they got like a little bit of like a berry flavor and like little like pink lemonade sort of flavor to them. Really good. I like those. And all right, so let's move on to a little bit more information about what's going on in the future, and then I will answer some more questions in a bit. So hold on to your questions, and I'll get back to those in just a moment. So now that we're ending the citrus chapter of the channel, where I've spent the past few months focusing on citruses, I wanted to do those before I kind of like moved on to like a different chapter. So like usually how I set things up in my mind is like I go on a trip and then I review a bunch of fruit, and then I do a bunch of things at home, the things that are sent to me and things that I find in New York. So while I've been doing the citruses, I wanted to stay in New York because those I felt were like part of that universe, and I wanted to do those all together. So now that I'm nearing the end of the citrus box, I'm going to go on a trip as far as the channel is concerned. This is something I did a while ago, but I went to New Orleans a while back, which I've mentioned probably in the last live stream that I did a couple months ago. So basically from November of last year until January of this year, I was in New Orleans. And while I was there, I reviewed a bunch of really interesting things. I found like a very legitimate like Vietnamese community, like people who fled Vietnam during the Vietnam War, after the Vietnam War, and then they came to New Orleans and set up a community there. And a lot of the things that people were growing in their gardens were actually things that they brought from Vietnam back, in the I guess the 70s. So I found a day market there where it was like very legit. Like it felt like I was in Southeast Asia. People with blankets out in front of them, like the triangular like rice hats, like the whole bit. Like it was very, very interesting market to go to in Louisiana, of all places, in southern United States. So when I was there, I found a few things that I've never had before that are from Vietnam but are grown in the U.S. And I also found a few things that are interesting to Louisiana, like satsumas. There'll be a video on that kind of like goes deep into satsumas and a few other things. So that's going to be a fun one, and that's going to be coming up after I'm done with the citrus videos. So probably not next week, but by the end of this month, I will be going into New Orleans videos and Louisiana videos. So that should be a fun one. I had a good time there. I didn't find like a ton of stuff, but the things that I found were pretty interesting, and it just kind of like showed me like the diversity of plants that are available even just in the United States. Like what I find here in New York is pretty diverse. There's so many different communities in New York, which is one of the reasons why I love living in New York City. I can find like so many different types of fruit, but that I can only see so much of it. Like things that you're foraging, only there's a certain amount of things that grow in this part of the country. And because there's certain communities in other parts of the United States, different fruits show up. So what you find in the southern U.S. is very different than what you find in New York, even if you go to a market, even if it's stuff that's just imported in, it's different. So I found that in New Orleans more so than a lot of places that I've been to in the U.S. So that's going to be fun. It's maybe like 10 videos from that. And along the way, I filmed a lot of junk food videos. So if anyone hasn't seen it, I have a playlist that I've been kind of slowly adding things to on and off over the past, like almost 10 years, where I find strange food, not fruit, but food in different countries, different parts of the U.S. also. And there's a lot of very unique regional food in New Orleans. So that's going to be kind of fun, just trying different snacks that are available on top of all the fruit. So it's going to be like the Louisiana chapter of Weird Fruit Explorer going forward in 2-3 weeks. So that's another thing, another topic. And speaking of regional foods, I'm going to try a couple snacks next. But first, let me answer a couple more questions, and then we'll do a review here. We got almost 200 people watching, so I think it's time that we break into some snack food. And welcome everyone who's joining. If you've got a question, feel free to ask it here. It doesn't need to be a super chat. If you ask a super chat, I will definitely answer it. But you don't need to pay anything, so just feel free to ask anything. Okay. Let's pause the chat for a second. Okay. A camel who likes Coca-Cola asked me... Oh, I lost it. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay. Out of all of the coconut varieties, which one is your favorite? Honestly, I haven't had that many different coconut varieties. I think I've had 2 on the channel. I had like your standard green coconut, and I had the sprouted coconut, which is interesting because it fills with like almost like a styrofoam textured kind of fruit on the inside of the coconut, which is pretty interesting. That was sent to me by Miami Fruit, by the way. That was pretty cool. And then I had one in the Seychelles. I had a yellow coconut. I think it was called a red coconut, but it's actually yellow on the outside because that's confusing that way. And that one was pretty good. I think, although the red coconut was interesting looking, I didn't notice it being very different than a regular green coconut. It was good, but I like them just about the same. So honestly, I can't give you a great answer because I haven't had enough coconuts. Hopefully going forward, I'll be able to try it because that's the cool thing with every fruit is that for every fruit that you eat, it's like there are just sometimes 1,000 different cultivars of each fruit. So if I wanted to, I could do a channel where all I reviewed were coconuts and every episode was a different type of coconut. There's probably that many coconuts out there. But so far I've only had 2. The problem with it, I think, is that I don't really, I'm not a botanist. I'm not a plant expert. I'm just some guy that is reviewing fruit. I'm an entertainer. So part of the problem I have is that I have to learn as I go along. And sometimes when I go to like a market in another country, I see something and I'm not sure exactly what it is. And there have been points where I've like passed by fruit where I'm sure it was something like really rare, like a rare cultivar, but I just didn't know it. So as I learn, as I make these videos, I kind of I'm getting better at detecting different cultivars I haven't had. So hopefully next time I go to a place that has a lot of coconut varieties, I will know that I'm looking at a coconut that's weird or a coconut that's uncommon. So yeah, hope that answers your question. We got a super chat from Kathleen Hawks. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Emmy wants to ask you whose hand that was in the video where I showed my apartment. Well, very good question, Emmy. That is a mystery. It's my girlfriend. Okay, I'll ask another, answer another question here. Jack asks if do I think I'll ever get to try the Coco de Mer? I hope so, Jack. I hope so. But it's such like a loaded thing. You know, like I could have tried that. You know, I went to the Seychelles. I found Coco de Mer growing. I found someone who was going to give me Coco de Mer if I did a little prodding. But there is so much responsibility involved with it. The Coco de Mer is very vulnerable. It only grows in this small area. And also I feel like partially responsible making these videos if anybody would go out and then being like, well, I'm going to go eat the Coco de Mer because I saw Jared do it. Like, I don't want to promote poaching. So if I were to try the Coco de Mer, it'd have to be under like very specific conditions where it is being offered to me, it is being accepted, and I can do so with like a clear conscience. There's like no iffiness around it. And I would have to do it in a way that is not promoting people to go out and eat the Coco de Mer. Because it's a problem there. It is a problem there. And when I found the Coco de Mer and I found somebody who was willing to share the Coco de Mer with me, it wasn't just, you know, my own neck that would be on the line if I had it, and also promoting poaching by making a video eating something I shouldn't be eating, but also the guy who would give it to me could get in trouble. You know, there's a lot of legality around it, a lot of tension around it. So it makes it like really difficult. My guess is that if I'm going to try Coco de Mer, it's going to be like somebody's inviting me to try it. Like they're doing a special tasting about it. The Coco de Mer does grow in places other than the Seychelles. And there is one video that I found online in, I believe, Thailand, where they grew one and they cut it open and people ate it. And it's just a video. Like there's no review of what it tastes like. It's just like some special event at a botanical garden that was growing it. And that is the only place I can really see people eating it. And my guess is that if I get a chance to eat it, it would probably be something similar to that, where they're making a big like to-do about it. Like some company is like sponsoring an event where they're eating a Coco de Mer as like a fundraiser for a botanical garden or whatever it is. There was like some sort of big event that was happening where they ate it. So if something like that happens and I'm invited, I would happily fly over there and cover it on the channel. But other than that, it's tricky. I'm going to keep my eyes open for the opportunity because obviously that is like the holy grail of fruit. But I would have to do so responsibly. Okay, let me answer another question. I saw another super chat pop up, I think. Jacob Goodman asked where he could find durian near Connecticut. Jacob, I would say check an Asian supermarket. There are surprisingly a lot of them. You might search on Google, look for Asian supermarket, and there's probably one maybe not like next door, but within reach. I'm sure there's a few at least in Connecticut, so you can find it there. It might be frozen, not fresh, but even I've seen fresh ones available every now and then at Asian supermarkets. You can also try getting one online. A lot of the durian I've reviewed on the channel has been donated to me from online sellers. They're also selling frozen ones most of the time, but they are flash frozen usually, so it's done in a way that makes it taste better than frozen ones that you get in an Asian supermarket. So you can check my channel for those. I've been sent them by Year of the Durian and from MiamiFruit.org. They both sell it on their websites. But if you don't want to have it shipped to you, which ends up being a little bit more expensive, then check an Asian supermarket, and you'll at least be able to find a frozen one. Okay, Robert Holden, thank you very much. Wants to know where I perform. Okay, well, thank you, Robert. He wants to know where I perform. I'm actually like a private party entertainer, so I don't really do a whole lot of public events every now and then. But honestly, public events like doing like a stage show at like a bar or something just doesn't pay very well. So especially here in New York, because it's kind of like there's a lot of variety shows and stuff like that, and they don't, it's usually like they'll give you like $50 or something. And what I do is kind of physically exhausting. Like I do like contortion and sword swallowing and fire eating and stuff like that. So I try not to do that for, too little. So yeah, people can hire me. Like if you got like a wedding coming up or something, you can check out my channel, but or my website, contortionjared.com. But it's not usually public. It's private stuff. And yeah, unfortunately, it's live entertainment usually means me traveling, so I'm not it's not very very affordable to hire me. I don't perform all that often these days. Next question, KCJ Bomber asked me just said that you are growing yellow dragon fruit in your backyard. Oh, that's great. That's great. Yellow dragon fruits are delicious. There's like the red ones, the white ones, and the yellow ones are ones you can find at markets. Yellow ones, really, really good. Glad that you got that grown. Hope it works out well for you. Let's see. Oh, and thank you very much, by the way. That was very generous of you. Carla asks, have I tried the West India Berg gherkin? They're a type of cucamelon. If not, you'd like to send me some. I've only had 2 cucamelons, so I'm not sure if I've had that one, Carla. I've had the regular mouse melon, the Mexican gherkin, and I've had the creeping cucumber, which I just did last episode of the episode before. So, or last episode, yeah. So that's the only 2 I've had, but there's like a whole bunch of them, I guess, right? So it's going to be interesting trying some of those. They're so cute. They're like adorable little things. So they're a fun one. So yeah, I don't think I've had that one. If you want to send me some, check out the about page on my channel. There's an email address there for business inquiries. That qualifies as business. But thank you for the offer. I get a lot of people who will send me emails on the business inquiry thing. I apologize if anyone has sent me an email where I haven't answered. I get very overwhelmed with the amount of success that this channel has gotten, which I'm grateful that it's been doing well lately. But it's like a one-man operation. So if I get an email and it's just like just want to like talk, I don't generally respond to those. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of time to talk about it. So if you've got questions, like the live streams are the way to do it. This is the best. I want to give a little time where I can talk to everybody, but it gets overwhelming. Sometimes there's like dozens of messages and I just can't keep up with it. But as far as like business stuff goes, I try to at least read the emails. So yeah, that's how that works. Okay, so I'm going to take a moment to review some snacks here, and then we'll take another. I'll take a few more questions after that. And I got another super chat from Jacob. Thank you very much. Top fruit to try real quick. The Kasusu. I've mentioned that one before. That one's my white whale. Hopefully I'll get to that one soon. And since I saw earlier, there's a lot of people watching from Washington. This is not going to be interesting for you whatsoever. I have a snack food here that is a regional food available, I believe, in the Pacific Northwest in the United States. So where I live in the East Coast of the United States in New York. I know we got a lot of people watching from other countries. So this is as far away from me, basically, as you can be while still being in the United States. This is way up in the northwest part of the U.S. These are normal. I've never had one. Here we've got just like Lay's and chips like that. So this is something that was sent to me by Wanderlust Nursery. Thank you, Wanderlust Nursery, for sending this to me. They just wanted to send me, Matt over at Wanderlust Nursery just sent me like a care package as a thank you for giving him some business on the channel. So sent me a few fun things, and let's give it a try. So I think these look like extra thick and crunchy Tim's chips. So let's get a close up there. That's what they are. I don't know if that's going in. Is that backwards? I think it's backwards. So and I think because I've got a weird camera set up, it's backwards. But these look like they're kettle chips. Nice and crunchy looking. This is what you all joined for, right? Just 30-something guy eating chips. They taste like kettle chips. There's nothing too weird about them, but they're good. I like kettle chips. Legit crunchy. Probably driving some people crazy that I have the mouth noises, but there's a select few of you that I'm sure like the sound of crunchy things. But yeah, it's good. Nice and salty. I'm going to enjoy that. And thanks again to Wanderlust Nursery for sending me some snacks. I saw a couple of questions fly by. Let me answer those quick before I move on to some more snacks here. Unique man-child. If you could focus on asking more random strangers to make juice for you, that would be great. I'll do what I can. Unique man-child is referring to my Calabash episode. Basically, if you haven't seen that episode, check it out. That one was like real fun. I found a rare fruit growing in somebody's yard when I was in the Philippines, and I hopped out of the jeepney that I was on, which is like a public transport there, kind of like a Jeep and a bus, a Jeep that does like that drives like a bus, like you take stops off of it. And I hopped out and I like knocked on their door, and yeah, I asked them if they would make juice out of the Calabash for me. But it wasn't like, I mean, to be totally honest, it wasn't like that weird for me to ask strangers to make me juice out of a weird fruit that was growing in their yard. But it was a little weird. Why it wasn't that weird is that this wasn't just somebody's house. This was somebody's house where they had a Sari shop in their front yard. So a Sari shop is like a sundry item store. Like they're usually like a little small shed or a storefront where you can't walk in, and it'll just be like an open window, maybe with like some bars on it for security. and you go up to it and you point at what you want that they have behind the bars, and they give it to you. So not all of them have bars, but depending on what neighborhood they're in. This one didn't have bars, but this one was just like set up in front of somebody's yard, which is common. Sometimes I think people, as a way to make a little extra money in the Philippines, they'll live in their home, and then in front of the house they'll have like a few items for sale. So it had one of those. So I went up to the store that they had and asked the woman behind the counter about the fruit. So it wasn't like they had never sold one before. It wasn't like I was just like knocking on someone's door. Although I have done that before. In that particular case, it wasn't totally out of hand for me to ask for them to make juice for me. I think I was maybe not the first person. They mentioned that somebody else in the neighborhood buys them regularly to make the juice. It's something that was accessible. But that's not saying that I wouldn't knock on somebody's door if I saw weird fruit growing in their yard, which I've done. And I'd say 10 times out of 10 that I've done that, people have been very nice and wanted to talk about it. And half of the time, people have given me one. So that's people are everywhere around the world. People are very, very kind, especially with people are excited when they have something interesting growing in their yard too. It seems a lot of times. And yes, we have a cat now. For anyone who's new to the channel, this is Vostok, my little kitty. She is my co-host. She runs the camera sometimes. So she's going to be joining me for the rest of the stream. If anyone has any questions for Vostok, let me know. KCJ Bomber asked, best fruit to make a sandwich out of. Honestly, I can't think of anything too weird, but like a good quality heirloom tomato can't be beat. Like a good quality tomato, not like the crap that you get from a supermarket. That stuff just tastes like watery styrofoam, but like a legit, really good tomato, that's the best thing for a sandwich. Like a Cherokee purple tomato, those are really good. All right, I think I might have missed a super chat. No, I don't. I'm not seeing it. So I think we're caught up, and I'm getting cat hair up my nose. Pardon me for a moment. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, kick your fur in my face, cat. Too cute. And speaking of the Philippines, since I was giving that. Oh, okay. Plant Vibes asked, have I ever had any allergic reactions or odd experiences after eating fruit? As far as I know, I'm not allergic to anything, at least nothing I've found yet. But oddly, the worst experience I had where I got sick from eating fruit was in Germany, of all places, because I had the brilliant idea to eat 7 apples over the course of just a few hours. Don't do it, guys. Apples are full of fiber, so it was not. It gave me like horrible stomach issues right before having to get on a plane. So that wasn't fun. And in India, I got very, very ill from eating a soursop. And worst food poisoning of my life was from a soursop. As far as I can tell, that's what caused it. But other than that, I've managed to make all these episodes without getting ill. I did poison my girlfriend once by giving her trifoliate oranges. Check out that episode if you want to learn about that one. But yeah, some fruit you got to be careful with. But some people have more of a sensitivity than others. So if you are the sort of person that has your tongue burns when you eat pineapple, you might want to be careful. Diving into exotic fruit, take it slow. But so far managed to get away without getting very ill or having any allergic reactions. I did give I'm minded I'm scratching myself a lot. This cat is like spraying hair at me. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, a friend of mine once when I was in Malaysia, I gave her a piece of jackfruit, and we're just like sitting there eating jackfruit over lunch and chatting while I'm talking to her. Her face just started blowing up more and more. But she was allergic to a lot of things, so she wasn't a big surprise that her head got twice its size from eating a piece of fruit. Okay, so all the super chats. Thank you so much, everyone. Everyone's being so generous with the super chats. Will I review sassafras for amazing plants? That was a question by Jacob. Jacob, thank you so much. I think at some point it would be interesting to review sassafras. There's a lot of weird things about it. Sassafras has a lot of legal issues around it, which is pretty interesting. And I think there's a little bit of a conspiracy theory that I've stumbled across online, because when I was researching not sassafras but another one, the root beer fruit. It's a relative of pepper. It's like a long white peppercorn looking thing. They call it Hoja Santa for the leaf is used. That has the same properties as sassafras. And I think I'm not sure if this is true, but the conspiracy theory is that the reason why sassafras is not allowed is because you can make ecstasy out of it. Sassafras has a compound in it that is used to make that drug. It's also in other things like the root beer plant, but it's not in a lot of things. And it's not the only thing that's in ecstasy. You can't get high from eating like a bunch of sassafras, but it might be part of the reason why there's kind of like some issues about growing it. I think you can grow it, but you can't sell it, or you can't put it in things. There's like in root beer, you can't have sassafras in root beer anymore. And another reason is that people say it's carcinogenic, but that's debatable. But it's not debatable that you can make drugs out of it. So, no. I ended up going down a weird rabbit hole last time I was looking into that stuff. But it would be interesting to delve into sassafras a little bit. Nihar, thank you very much. Let's see, Annona cornifolia and Annona spinensis. Those are red annonas. Have I found any other Annona or Garcinia fruits? I don't know offhand about those two that you've mentioned, but I've had a lot of Annonas and a lot of Garcinias on the channel. Annonas are really interesting. There's a lot of them that I haven't had that are tricky to find, but I've had the ones that are relatively easy to find, like Cherimoya, Soursop, the red Atamoya I did recently, custard apple, but there's a ton of them. One that I'd really love to try is the jungle sop. Those things are like gigantic, but they're really, really hard to find, and there's only like one photo of it online. If you search it, you'll see one photo. That's all you see. I feel like it's not being properly documented, so I really want to try that one. So who knows? Hopefully that'll happen at some point in the future. Okay. Kara asks if when I think I'll try the Kasusu. The Kasusu grows in Borneo, so it's gonna have to wait until I can get to Borneo again, which might take a while. But ideally, one of my future trips will be back to Borneo, where I can get my hands on one of those. But probably not this year. Probably not next year. Maybe after that. The world's big. But like I do have some unfinished business with the Kasusu. Okay, let me wipe some cat hair off my face and move on to another snack. So these are, since I was talking about the Philippines a little while ago, these are pili nuts right here. Try to get close without disrupting the cat. So this is Peely Nut Brittle. So I reviewed Peely Nuts on the channel in the past. I've never had them fresh. They actually have an edible fruit to them that I would love to try. So maybe I have to go back to the Philippines too. Can I open this though? That is the trick. Yes, okay. And when I tried it on the channel a while ago, it was a packaged version also, but they weren't candied. It was a U.S. company that was selling that at exorbitant prices. This I got from a Filipino market. This is a Filipino product from the Philippines, not produced for the U.S., but for the Philippines, grown in the Philippines for the Philippines. And yeah, so it's got some sort of brittle on it, just sugar, coconut oil, and Peely nuts. Thank you, Ricky. I saw your super chat there. And these are good, but I think candying them takes away some of what makes Peely nuts so nice. Because Peely nuts, you bite into them and they just like melt. They're like a little crispy, but then they like turn into like butter in your mouth. They're like really, really good. Kind of like a macadamia nut in a way, but lighter and airier and like very rich. It's almost like a little creamy. But since these ones are turned into a brittle, kind of get that texture a little bit once you bite through the crunchy outer coating. But instead of getting, looks like I missed a super chat. I'm going to hold that for a moment. So the, because it's such like a mild flavor when you eat Peely nuts, they're just kind of like a light buttery taste. Candying it, I'm tasting the candy, I'm not tasting much else. So this tastes a little bit like a praline or like a candy pecan, just because of the coating. But honestly, I think I like it better without the coating on it. It is still really good though. It tastes like pecan brittle, but richer, because that nut in there is a little richer. It's good though. That is good. And this, by the way, is something that I have because I sent these to my patrons not that long ago. Small promotion is that on Patreon there's like a certain tier where I send you stuff in the mail, and this is something that I sent in the mail. So I had an extra one from that, but I sent this, and I sent some other Filipino snacks. I don't have one around here. Another one I sent was the Pavlaron, which is like a little shortbread. They've got like almost like a wet sand kind of texture, but in a good way. Those are really good too. Filipino snack food is, especially the sweets, are something special. Okay, looks like I missed a super chat. KJ Bomber, thank you again. KJ Bomber has sent quite a few. It's very generous of you. Thank you. Will I revisit Miracle Berries for a taste test with more exotic sour fruits? Yeah, I would like to. I actually did film a Miracle Berry Part 2, but I felt like the episode was not to my current standard. And then it also, I recorded it at a time that I was in between cameras. So the footage that you're looking at right now, like the quality of this camera is very good. Maybe not so good on a stream, but like I'm using a camera that can do like 4K. So I shot this Miracle Berry video, and it ended up not being as interesting as I wanted it to be. And then I upgraded my camera, and then I just kind of like, it didn't look good anymore. So that one kind of got pushed to the wayside. I might put that out at some point, but Probably not. I probably will put that up on Patreon at some point, and instead reshoot Miracle Berry Part 2, where I try some more interesting things. So when I did Miracle Berry last time, I tried it with a few different things like chocolate, lemons, and vinegar and stuff like that. But it would be interesting to try it with, more exotic things or stranger things. Like try it with some cheese and stuff like that. I did a party once. I didn't make an episode. I didn't have a camera where I did a Miracle Berry tasting party with his friends. And there's a lot of things that you can use besides just lemons. There's a lot of possibilities. So I think that would be an interesting one. I kind of like the idea of just having a Miracle Berry stockpile in my cupboard, or like the tablets maybe, or maybe the actual berries in my freezer. That way, if I'm like met with like a super sour fruit, I'd be like, all right, let's do this, and go get a Miracle Berry to give it a review that way. I think it'll be fun to do that at some point, but at the moment, I don't have any Miracle Berries around, so I have to think about that. But yeah, good question. The last one you saw said, "Thank you for getting me a job. I had to prepare a sales pitch for my interview and used fruit that I reviewed on my channel." Well, thank you. That's a huge compliment. I really appreciate that. That's really cool. Glad you got the job. That's awesome. It makes me so happy when like these weird videos that I'm making like actually can make any kind of difference whatsoever out there. So when people are growing something because of me, or getting a job, apparently, that means a lot. So thank you very much. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to take a moment to review something else. I've got one more thing to review. And this one was sent to me a while ago. I'm blanking on his name. I think it was sent by Brian. I apologize if you're watching, Brian, and I said your name wrong. That was apparently not Brian. But this is sent from a Korean grocery store, individually packaged melon flavored cookies. So they're like little sandwich cookies, but with melon on the inside. That's interesting. I wonder if this is going to be like, I have a hunch what this is going to be like. Yeah, it is. Okay. It's kind of like, the outside is like a Ritz cracker. But the cat jumped away now, so I can get a little closer. Show you those nooks and crannies. So this is the Melon cookie, and it's got like a Ritz cracker kind of biscuit on the outside with melon on the inside. Cool, and it smells like melon. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of melon, won't lie. But I am curious about this. It's pretty interesting. Let's give it a shot. It's okay. I like the crackers on it. Like, Ritz crackers are good. I like Ritz crackers. Melon on the inside, not my first choice. I'd probably put that as my last choice for a filling for a cookie. We're close to it as far as all like common fruit that is available. However, it's I'll eat them. I'll finish that box, but it's probably going to take me a while. But yeah, it's all right. If you like melon flavored candy, you would like Melon cookies. If you don't like melon, even a little bit, you will not like this. But me, I like melon, but it's got to be like real good quality melon. Like I had a $35 melon in Japan. that's pretty good. I think like people who don't like melon would like that melon, but supermarket melon, I usually pass on those. Okay, so I may have missed a super chat. No, I don't think so. Okay, I'm looking to see if there's any questions here. Thank you very much, Adrian. The Doors asked me, have I heard of the Anona Breeding Project? I just lost your question. In Pine Island. No, I haven't, The Doors. 1388, but thank you. I will look that up. Anonas are really cool. They're really interesting too. So finding new varieties of Anonas to try would be very interesting. There's like the Mountain Sup and the I don't know how to say it, Iyama, and there's a lot of interesting ones. So I will check that out. Logan, oh, thank you very much, Logan, and shout out to Nikki. How's it going, Nikki? Thank you very much, Logan. That's kind of you, and that's very sweet of you. That's a very sweet thing to do for your girlfriend. I'll answer one more question here, and then we'll move on to something else here. May the 4th be with you. And you too, Nicholas. Forn Jutor asked if I've ever done Lacuma. I have. Lacuma is really interesting. It's related to, it's a sapote. It's a Sapotaceae family fruit. So it's related to egg fruit and mame sapote, stuff like that. And it tastes kind of like egg fruit, but with the addition of maple syrup to it. It's interesting. Weird little green fruit. You cut it open, it's like orange on the inside. It's got these 2 weird seeds in it. And yeah, I like those. If an egg fruit tastes kind of like a sweet potato and a little bit of like egg yolk kind of taste to it. So that's pretty interesting. Okay. Next up, let's move on to another order of business. I wanted to mention that I am, for anyone who is interested in my merch, I've got shirts for sale on my website. And one thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discontinuing the women's sizes on my channel. I get a lot of orders from women, but women tend to order the unisex sizes. So because of that, they're not selling that much, so I need the closet space. So if anyone has wanted to get a ladies cut shirt, I've got ladies tank tops with the durian anatomy image on it. And I also have the mandrake root ladies tee. These are available on my website, weirdexplorer.com, and they are greatly discounted. And I will probably continue to lower the price on those until they're all gone, because I'm running out of space. So right now I think they're $15, but I'm running. Once they're gone, they're gone. So if you want a certain size for these shirts, snatch one up. They're on sale until they're gone. So if you want one of those, now is a good time to get it. And if you want one of my unisex shirts, I have plenty of those available too. They are not on sale though. So right now, these, if I didn't mention the price, they're $15 for the ladies' shirts. It's $20 for the regular ones. And one thing I've noticed is that sometimes people don't ask if I have merch. I do, obviously, but I don't use Teespring. So like when you watch a YouTube video and underneath the video, you see the items for sale, like mugs and shirts and stuff like that. That has to be through one company, and they're like a company that does print to order shirts. And I don't know. I'm thinking of like maybe putting like one item in there, like a new item for that. But there's a couple of problems with Teespring that I find. They're like a mega company, and I'd rather support a smaller business. So this is done by one guy, Sage, who runs a printing company that does a lot of like band T-shirts. It's like a small local business. I like to support a local business. And the other reason is that it manages to make it cheaper, you know. So I can sell these for $20 and make a profit off of it. If I wanted to make a profit off of the ones on Teespring, it would have to be like another $10. And who's buying a shirt for $30, you know? So I feel like I would rather have a cheaper product and just lose that advertising of having it under my video. But because of that, a lot of people don't realize that I sell shirts. But yeah, I sell shirts, weirdexplorer.com. And yeah, maybe at one point I'll put a shirt for sale on that'll be under the screen, and just like, or like another item or something. But I'd rather have like a cool item that is made by a local business and for a good price. So that's why there's a little bit it's a little bit harder to find my merch than other YouTube channels. It does exist. Let me take a moment to answer a couple more questions. We're going on an hour here, so I want to wrap up actually pretty soon. So I'll answer a couple more questions. I got one more announcement, and it's a big one. Stay tuned for that. First of all, Robert, thank you very much for the super chat. And let's see. Karen asked where I'm traveling to. That's the next order of business. I will answer that in one moment, Karen. Guy Man said that you made lemon curd. Did you do it with the blender? I hope you did it with the blender. That was such like a fun discovery, is that you can use a blender to cheat to make lemon curd. Like I've tried making lemon curd on my own by, you're supposed to like, what is it called? Like temper it. Like you have to put the eggs in like slowly, or you put the eggs in and you have to slowly add hot liquid to it or whatever. Every time I do it, I would just like end up totally ruining it. But by using a blender, it's such a fun cheat. You got to clean the blender, which kind of sucks. But besides that, using a blender to make lemon curd or hollandaise, it's a beautiful thing. So glad that worked for you. Jao Quaresma asked about Brazil. There's some amazing species like Garcinia brasiliensis and Gardenia and Eugenia piriformis. I would love to go to Brazil. I think I'm probably going to wait at least a year for that. I've got a few places lined up that I'm going to be going to, or where I'd like to be going for the next year. But I'm thinking maybe 2022. I'm going to start thinking another South American country. And then maybe 2023, we'll see where I go next. I can only go on, like 2-3 trips a year. And this year is already spoken for. Next year, though, Brazil is definitely like way up there. The fruits that you've mentioned, I think I definitely have had those 2 Garcinias already, but I'm not sure about the Eugenia. Garcinias are amazing, and I would love to go to Brazil to try things from the Amazon region. I went to the Amazon in Bolivia, and I was amazed with the variety of fruit. And that's only a small chunk of the Amazon rainforest. Amazon is gigantic. So to visit other areas of the Amazon, I think will be really, really cool. And Brazil makes a lot of sense. And there's other like amazing areas there. So that would be really neat. And there's also, I get the suggestion a lot that I should reach out to Helton Helton is a guy who has like this immense collection of fruit that he's growing on his farm, and I would love to reach out to him. I haven't. I've never spoken to the guy, but if I could work a way to get a tour of his farm, that'd be really, really cool. It's got like thousands of different species growing on his farm. So yeah, Brazil is definitely on the list for a future video. Okay, got another super chat. Thank you, Fever309. Discovered my channel last week, and you have some fruits on your bucket list now. Oh, so happy to hear that. Thank you. Okay. Just take a sip of water here, clear my throat. All right, so we got big news. I got big news, and I'm going to take a couple questions, and then we're going to call it a night, everybody. And this is big because I could travel again now. I've been vaccinated. The world has opened up a little bit more to me. Things are becoming a little less restricted with traveling right now. And I believe it is safe for me to travel in some regard right now. And where I'm going to be going next is maybe going to be surprising because I'm going to go to Iceland. Yep, I'm going to be going to a country that is almost entirely devoid of agricultural land. And why I'm doing that is because of that. Iceland is a very, very interesting place. And people grow plants there through adversity. There's nothing like really weird that's growing there. There's a few species of native plants that I haven't had. They're like little berries, maybe more in line of what I found when I was in Finland. But unfortunately, with timing, their season is really, really short, and I'm not able to get there during like the height of their berry season. So I'm not sure if I'm actually going to find any of the native fruits there. But what I want to explore there is not so much the species that are available, but the method in which things are grown. Because for those that don't know, Iceland is a very bizarre place. The island has suffered a lot through deforestation. So there's not a lot of trees. There's not a lot of plants. But people, despite it, and it grows in it's only a short window where it's actually warm there. It's a very cold place. Yet people have found a way to grow things through those hurdles. They've managed to harness the power of the earth by using geothermal energy in order to grow plants. So if you go to Iceland, there are some places that I'm not sure exactly how it works. It's something I want to learn about. But people can cook with geothermal energy, and they use it to power their greenhouses. And they use it for energy too. Like a certain percentage of Iceland is powered by the earth. So geothermal energy is basically like, how volcanoes are. I don't know that much about it. I'm still learning about geothermal energy. But like all the energy inside the earth, like it's very active there. There's a lot of geothermal energy there. So there's a lot of volcanoes there. There's a lot of hot springs there. There's a lot of geysers there. There's just like all this stuff happening underneath the surface in Iceland. And people have found a way to harness that to grow plants. So I think it's going to be really exciting. I think I'm going to find maybe not the most diverse plants, but like how things are grown are going to be really interesting. So that's going to be coming up in the future. It's not going to. I haven't gone yet, so it's going to be a trip coming up in the next, several months. I'm going to be going to Iceland, and then probably sometime in 2022, we'll be posting. Or maybe later this year, depending on where the backlog is. I'll be posting videos in Iceland. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun one. I feel like a lot of channels on YouTube where people are reviewing fruit or showing exotic fruit, they're going to places where you'd expect there to be exotic fruit. Going to Borneo like I've been, or going to Bali, and there's a lot of really interesting fruits in those places. But I like the idea of going to places that there's not much documented about it. And I think this one is kind of like the top of that. Like, it's not something that is on most people who are interested in fruit, their radar. But I think there is definitely a lot of interesting things to talk about. So that'll be coming up in the future. But I'm planning that trip right now. So I don't have much to say about the specifics of it, but it is going to be the idea. And why Iceland, not anywhere else, is that, honestly, there's only so many places that are open to travel to, and I think that this one is it's appealing to me right now. I've been locked inside my apartment more than I care to be, and I like the idea of just like going out into the wilderness and learning about geothermal energy. Sounds like a good time to me. So that's going to be a fun one going forward. And hopefully it'll be interesting. Hopefully I'm going to be able to make a few videos there. It's not going to be like, okay, well, there's nothing. I'm pretty sure there's going to be at least like one big video there, and then probably a few little ones. And yeah, should be fun. And also to go more in more exotic and less in how growing things are weird, but more plant diversity. I also am going to be planning a trip to Hawaii, which is something I've been teasing for a while, but pandemic happened and kind of threw a wrench in that system. So Hawaii is on my mind. It's probably not going to happen this summer, maybe later this year though. So I'm focusing all my energy on Iceland, and then when I get back, I'm gonna start thinking about Hawaii. And Hawaii would be really cool. There's like so many collectors of fruit there. There's so many interesting markets there. It's a cool place, and I think that'll be a fun one. And I've been wanting to go. I've never been. I've been to like 47 states, I think, in the U.S. Hawaii is not one of them. And you'd think that would be like one of the top ones that I would have been to from what I do for this channel, but I've never been there. So that will also be big. Okay, so I think that's all I have to say on my little. I'm reading a little list here. I think that's everything from my list of topics. So I will answer a few more questions, and then we're gonna call it a night, everybody. Let's see. I missed a super chat. Tatters asked if I've ever done geocaching while I'm out. No, I haven't. It'd be fun though. I'm tempted to do that. I've thought about it. I've never tried, and I think that would be fun. Geocaching, for those that don't know, it's like you use like an app or something, right? And you like find hidden items, and then you can take an item out of like this like hidden away like box or something, and then you put something of your own in there. And these are just like out in the world, like everywhere. So you go and you find like a little like a toy or a message or something inside these little boxes that are just like out everywhere. So it's kind of like Pokemon Go, if that's still relevant. Only there's items to be exchanged. So yeah, that'd be cool. Let's see. Did I miss anything else? Just want to see if there's. I think that was the last super chat. Okay. Benjamin asked, "What fruit am I going to try in Iceland?" I'm not too sure. It's more of like the method that things are grown rather than the fruit itself. So it's probably going to be like typical things. It's going to be like, okay, here's like a cherry tree or something, but it's grown by the earth. It's being grown through energy that's stored inside the earth. So yeah, it's more like the method of how things are grown rather than diversity. I'm not expecting them to find anything too weird, but things that are unexpected. Okay. Have I heard some rye asked, have I heard of Ascension Island? The military took plants from around the world and planted them back in the 1800s. I should be able to find some interesting stuff there. Thank you for the suggestion. I'll add that to my list. I love that stuff. I love when it's like, islands are such like an interesting thing because they're so cut off with the rest of the world, and sometimes you find some very bizarre plants and animals growing in an island that you won't see anywhere else. Like, I learned so much about that when I went to the Seychelles, and I kind of want to find more like that. So Ascension Islands, I've heard the name, but I didn't know that about the plants. So that'd be cool. Galapagos would be cool to go to. There's the Canary Islands. There's so many islands I've got like interesting plant life going on. So that would be neat. I'm going to answer, let's try like 2 more questions. Giratina asked if I've had the Sumo Citrus. Yes, check out my orange video. Someone asked earlier about the Cara Cara Orange. Cara Cara Orange and the Sumo Citrus are both in that. So check out that. Have I been, Sayanch asked if I've been to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. I have not. Have not been to a ton of islands, honestly. I mean, the Seychelles was a big one. But I've got a lot more islands to explore. I tend to stay away from islands when I'm just like thinking like, oh, there's a fun place to go, because I don't like the beach. Like, I'm not the sort of person that like lays on the beach. I'm more the person that likes to like climb a mountain and dig around the jungle for plants. So because of that, I feel like I've been giving islands a bad rap, but there's a lot to be explored. So I do need to look more into islands. Jamaica, I went to Jamaica and I found like a ton of stuff there. But there is more to be found. Loquats. Yes, I did loquats in Hong Kong, where they're like big giant loquats they sell at markets there. And those are fun to try. Okay, so I will answer one more question, and then we're going to call it a night. All right, so I'm looking for a good one in here. So guys, if you got a question, now is the time. What's my favorite game? That'll be it. That's a good one to end on. Or any updates on the Plant Milk Showdown? Okay. There's a few good questions there. I don't really play video games anymore. I used to. I used to play too many video games, but then I sold my system and started editing videos instead. So editing videos has now replaced that time where I would have the itch to play a game. But me, I'm some people think I'm like in my 20s or something. I'm 35, knocking on 36, guys. So when I think of games, I'm thinking like 90s stuff. So when I was in college, I was obsessed with survival horror games. So I played like all the Silent Hill games, all the Resident Evil ones. But Silent Hill was like that was my thing. I love Silent Hill because it was like scary and like, oh, it's good. Like, it gets into your mind. It's not just like jump scares. It's like more psychological. Like the original Silent Hill, Silent Hill 2, even the third one, those were great. And these days, if I ever like take a moment to play a game, I am playing point and click adventures. It's from like the 1993. So I just finished all the Gabriel Knight games and Beneath a Steel Sky. And right now I'm like on every like month I will probably spend like 1 hour playing the Monkey Island games. I'm like in those now. And I'd say like anyone listening to this who is like under 30, probably you don't know what I'm talking about. But it's a good time. It's like just like a mindless thing. Like, I don't feel like making a video and I don't feel like doing anything. Don't feel like reading a book or watching a show. but I feel like I need to like have some sort of like mindless activity. Then I'm pointing and I'm clicking and I'm fighting off pirates on Monkey Island. Okay, I think I need to answer maybe like a plant related question. All right, we got some people who know about Monkey Island. Yeah. If you want like a good like point and click adventure that's also horror, like Harvester, that's a good one. That one's weird. That was a really weird one. It's like Twin Peaks, but like more horrific. Surprisingly violent for something that came out in like 1994 or whatever. But yeah, I love my Dark Seed. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. People are shocked that I'm 36. Yep. Sage is mentioning Dark Seed. Yep. Become the John Tron of point and clicks. I don't know who that is. Any good fruit hunting books? Okay, that is a question to end on. We've got a lot of people watching who grow plants that don't want to hear probably about me playing video games, because like literally every other person on YouTube is talking about video games like right now. So let's end with books. Books about fruit. Let's see. Well, Fruit Hunter, the Fruit Hunters by Adam Leaf Goldner is fantastic. That's one that I read before I even had this channel. I was already interested in fruit when I came across it, but it introduced me to the fact that there is a world of people that are also obsessed with fruit. I've been obsessed with fruit since I was like a little kid. But then I happened across this book and I was like, oh, wow, there's like a bunch of people that are like obsessed with fruit like out there in the world. So that's a really interesting one about just the subculture of people finding fruit. It also was like the only information out there about the Coco de Mer. It's where I first heard about the Coco de Mer. Adam Leaf Goldner, who wrote it, ended up finding the Coco de Mer and got to eat it because legally it was different when he went, because he went like I think in the early 2000s. But it was a very useful information for me in researching the Coco de Mer. There's also a book on the Coco de Mer. I believe it's just Coco de Mer. But that one, honestly, is mostly pictures, so I wouldn't highly recommend that one. But I mentioned that in my Coco de Mer video. And it's sourced as well. If you look in the sources in the description, you'll see that one. If you want to read a couple of really good informative essays about Coco de Mer that take up like 5 pages and then like 20 pages of photos, that's the book for you. But short, but very good information about it. But overall, Fruit Hunters is very good. I finished the Food Explorer, which is about David Fairchild recently. That one's pretty interesting. It's about David Fairchild, who was late 1800s, early 1900s, I believe. He traveled the world to bring back plants to the United States. And if you go to Florida, near Miami, Florida, or near, I think it's in Homestead, Florida, there's a Fairchild Botanical Garden where some of the plants that he brought over are still growing, some really weird stuff. It's interesting to learn about his adventures because it's like, traveling when people did not really travel all that much. That's a good one. And one that's really fun that I read not that long ago is Wicked Plants. It's short. It's like a little thing, but it's got great photos in it. And it's all about plants that will do horrible things to you. It's about the most poisonous, toxic, painful, bizarrely cruel plants out there. It's a fun one. I like that one. As somebody who's just kind of like, I'm a creepy guy. Like I collect weird things and like horror movies and stuff like that. So to kind of it's like a weird combination of my worlds when you're reading about plants that are also like kind of goth. It's fun. It's a fun book. It's short, but informative. So that's a fun one. And nothing that you really want to eat or go anywhere near but it's interesting to learn about plant diversity and just like how cruel Mother Nature could be sometimes. Oddly, I think Noni should be in there, but it's not in there. But maybe in the next edition. So okay, everybody. I think that is about it. Thank you so much, everyone who has joined. I think I didn't miss any super chats. I'm going to run through real quick just to make sure. I think that's it. I think we're caught up and losing my voice a little bit, so I think it's a good time to end. Thanks, everybody, and I will be back to do another live stream maybe next month or the month after. Things are getting kind of busy around here. I won't lie. Got a lot of gigs coming up, so might not be one until July, but if not, be probably early June. I'll do another live stream. And stay tuned. A lot of fun things. We got New Orleans videos coming up. I'm going on a trip. If you didn't see my little advertisement, shirts are on sale right now at weirdexplorer.com. $15 for ladies' shirts. So check that out. Thank you, everybody who's asked questions. Sorry I didn't answer all of them, but there will be more live streams in the future. Thank you, anyone who has contributed to the super chat. And I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.